All right, then let's move straight to our next conversation. Now, following his swearing in on Wednesday by President Bola Tinubu, the sole administrator of Rivers State, retired Vice Admiral Ibok Eteibas, has arrived in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital. Now, we talking about this story, as stipulated by the Constitution, the House of Representatives has passed and adopted the proclamation of the state of emergency in the South state, along with the 6-month suspension of Governor Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy and elected members of the State House of Assembly. Now, the lawmakers gave the approval through a voice vote with 243 members in attendance. In addition to approving the emergency rule, the House made some recommendations like the establishment of a national committee to mediate and restore peace in the state, and the need for the National Assembly to take over the functions of the State House of Assembly for the next 6 months. Similarly, the Senate has approved the proclamation invoking its constitutional powers under the 1999 Constitution as amended. The National Assembly also approved a joint committee of both chambers to oversee the administration of affairs in the state during the emergency period. Okay, Biko, let me start with you on this story. Now that both the Senate and the House of Reps, they have approved the president's request, does this mean it's a done deal?
Yes, it's a done deal. This matter has already polarized Nigerians, and you can see that not many people were impressed with the decision to bomb those oil installations, especially the export terminals. When you do that to the country, you are looking for trouble. So this particular decision to bomb the pipeline taking crude oil to one of Nigeria's major export terminals actually got many people angry. Not just ordinary Nigerians, but even the National Assembly members. You could see that in a state like Zamfara, for example, the governor didn't think about the fact that it was a fellow PDP governor that was suspended. The governor of Zamfara endorsed the president's decision even before the matter was taken before the Senate and the House of Reps. The National Assembly, as I said yesterday, had been consulted. The president had consulted widely. And the leadership of the National Assembly were already talking to their colleagues about the position of the president. If the president had not consulted people across all walks of life, it would have been a different thing. But in the National Assembly, the president had reached out already and explained that he took the decision to stop the situation from degenerating. We will always argue as to whether that was the right thing to do. And some of us still believe that suspending democratic structures was not the best option. As I said earlier, I'm not afraid to say that again and again. So those lying against me, that I took back what I said. Alone, as the Lorraine people will say. Alone. So we leave them to God. But this has happened, and by a unanimous voice vote, the Senate supported the House of Reps. The House of Reps was the first to actually back the president's decision, and the Senate gave that concurrence. It's not in all cases that we see concurrence, especially in critical matters like this, but I think the president's liaison officers had done a good job of reaching out to these lawmakers. Just similar to what happened in respect of the tax bill, the tax reform bill.
Okay.
You can see now that everyone, the National Assembly, has concurrence on the tax reform bill.
Yes.
It has taken some time to hammer out a deal, but at least we can report at this stage that the tax reform bill has come to stay. Changes have been made to it, and changes too would be made to this proclamation, because as far as Honorable Abbas of the House of Reps is concerned, the length of time during which Fubara and his people are on suspension should not be rigidly applied. As far as they are concerned, if peace is seen to have been achieved, then they can actually recall them before 6 months. And that's the reason the Speaker proposed a committee, a national committee, which will try to reconcile the parties involved in this matter and try to hammer out some form of unanimity that will lead to peace. And once that is done, they can be brought back.
Okay.
I think that those groups, the warring groups, should drop their irresponsible conduct, their irresponsible attitude since this whole saga began, and look at, grab the opportunity that the House of Reps Speaker has created in form of a national peace committee, and agree to sit together and work together, so that once this is achieved, the president can lift the suspension and they can come back to work. I want to see Fubara complete his term. I really want to see that. I know that he has made mistakes, but we all make mistakes and we are supposed to learn from our mistakes. So I want him to come back, complete his term, and who knows, he can be reconciled with his godfather, the man who put him in office in the first place.
Okay.
And those lawmakers too can be reconciled with the governor.
Okay.
That is what we want to see, and it is possible.
All right, well, we need to go on this quick break right now. But when we return, Dr. I'll come to you, because despite the torrent of comments, since the president made the broadcast, I'm going to be asking you that, are you surprised that, both the House, the Senate and the House actually overwhelmingly voted in support of the state of emergency in Rivers State? We'll be back with that one right after this break. Don't go anywhere. Still Journalist Hangout.
Hello, TVC Communications. How can I help?
What makes TVC the right choice for my business?
Excellent question, sir. Let me share some exciting facts with you.
Start your day on TVC Entertainment with Wake Up Nigeria, a family and lifestyle show. Your view empowers women globally.
It's your view, let it count.
Entertainment Splash delivers the hottest celebrity trends. On TVC News, we keep you informed with breaking news and in-depth analysis of events shaping the world.
I will continue to speak the truth.
TVC News at 7 and TVC News at 10 p.m. delivers the most fair. Your hit music radio station captivates listeners daily across Lagos and Abuja, making every commute more enjoyable. Adaba 88.9 FM is not left out, as it is the voice of Southwest. And on TVC Digital, we reach to million viewers daily. All together pulls in over 17 million viewers daily. Contact us on 0707 272 8338 or marketing at tvccommunications.tv. Partner with TVC Communications today. Let's grow together.
All right, if you just joined us, it's still Journalist Hangout. Okay, so before we went on that break, I asked you, despite the torrent of comments, since the president made that broadcast, you surprised that, both the Senate and the House actually, gave overwhelming support to this?
Well, I'm not surprised. What we've always seen with the president, whether as governor or a man out of office.
Okay.
I mean, between when he left office as governor and when he became president, he didn't hold any political position, whether elected or. We have seen a man who has the capacity to mobilize, the capacity to resolve issues that seemingly seem unresolvable. So I was expecting, for instance, that there will be some dissent in the assembly. People will say, no, this is not the way we are going. And we will never go this way. But we only had people who offered advice and said, let's run it this way.
Okay.
And which is what should be. Yes, like BQI also wasn't in support of that declaration. But once something happens and the parties involved are willing to, why not? Let's go the whole log and resolve it. And it needn't even be the whole 6 months. Yes, the proclamation was 6 months in the first instance, which can then be extended. But if all the parties involved in this can come together and resolve in the interest of not just Rivers State, but the whole country, there we go. So I wasn't surprised. You some few weeks back also recall that we had the situation in Lagos.
Yes.
When all of us were thinking,
oh, it was going to go this way.
This was going to, and then, you know, when we thought the speaker was gone and gone for good. But from what we have seen and what we have had, it was resolved, even if not 100% to the satisfaction of everyone, but up to 90. So, and when you get anything above 50 in any examination, you have done well. Exactly. Not to talk of getting 80, 90.
Absolutely. Your thoughts on this one?
I think the lobbyists of the president, they really did a wonderful job, you know, because all through last night, the reports I was getting was that they've not gotten the numbers, you know, for them to be able to, you know, ratify, you know, the president's proclamation, you know. So I think all through the night they are working. And don't forget that the president is even a chief lobbyist himself, you know. So he would always reach out. Very sure he would have reached out to some of the senators and the House of Rep members, you know, to appeal to them, to talk to them, you know, on why, you know, he needed to do, you know, declare that state of emergency in Rivers. And though I would have loved, well, I know they all came out with a voice vote, but me, I would have loved them counting, you know. Let's even see the numbers so that people, because right now
they took signatures, they took the attendance. I thought they would use that.
Because right now people are still thinking that voice vote is not to third majority. You understand? That's what most people will say. You know, so I would have loved them to, you know, a situation whereby maybe they raise their hands and then they start counting.
And we have the technology there.
Or they use their technology. Because they have it there, and then everybody says yes or no, and then they'll count. You know, I would have preferred that, so to put validation.
To put validation
into, you know, this the
So you think the voice vote will not really give?
No, not that they've. If you look at it, if you listen to the voice vote, everybody voted overwhelmingly that they wanted it. You know? But so that people don't say, oh, voice vote is not it, it's not in the, it's not even in the constitution anyway. The voice vote is not there. You know. But the only thing the constitution says is to third majority. But it didn't say whether it's voice vote or counting or whatever. First they have to convey, then from there they'll vote. You understand? So from all that we are seeing is that the president has been able to move ahead with his declaration. And what we will now want is for the peace in Rivers. I keep saying it. We want that peace in Rivers. The president has moved on. as far as I'm since yesterday night, I think he has even moved on.
Okay.
But for him to get that, that approval, he needed to speak with the National Assembly members so that they will be able to validate that declaration.
All right, BK, do you agree with Asukwa James on this matter? And also, do you think the state of emergency declared in Rivers State will bring about that peace, the impasse, will resolve the impasse in Rivers State?
Hopefully, it is in the best interest of the gladiators to come together, because what have they gained now with what has happened? You see, if there's anyone who needs to learn from this, it is Governor Fubara. Because, look, let's face it, now the president took a decision that many people didn't think was the right decision. But what has happened? That decision has come to stay. Many people thought that, in the National Assembly to be shut down. I was reading one professor waxing lyrical. This thing was going to meet a roadblock at the National Assembly. I just shook my head. You shouldn't have allowed the president to take that decision in the first place. Once he takes that decision, he will get the validation. Don't whine yourself. He will get the validation. And look,
Nigeria.
The National Assembly members, they sat down. We had a closed session. And they will have agreed about how to go about this. It is permitted in their rule book for decisions to be decided by voice vote. Because to do otherwise can be quite complicated. There are people whom if you brought a paper for them to sign, they will be reluctant to sign. But if you make it a voice vote, their voices will be among the loudest.
Okay, it keeps them anonymous.
Because they don't want you to have any record that, this person is from his state, is Fubara's very good friend, he's been collecting money from Fubara, but when he came to voting, he voted against Fubara. So a voice vote effectively takes care of that. You don't know, it gives them anonymity.
Anonymity, exactly.
Yes, it gives them anonymity, which will make everyone comfortable. The other thing the National Assembly members do in situations like this, if some of them do not like what has happened, and they are convinced that there's nothing they can do to stop it, they will stay away from that sitting. So that you cannot count them amongst the people who voted.
Okay.
And it doesn't mean, that would not mean that they were not lobbied. They could have been successfully lobbied. But on their own, they will say, no, I'm not going to the House today. Oh, I'm not going to the Senate today. So that in future, he can say, oh, I opposed it. I didn't vote for it. And you cannot hold him. You cannot provide evidence that indeed he voted in support because he stayed away. They know how to do these things. So Fubara now will see that, look, people will shout, Hosanna, Hosanna. They will push you, as I always say, to the edge of the cliff. And when you now fall from the edge of the cliff, they will even be among those who will be blaming you that he too was politically naive. Meanwhile, they were among the people who misled him. This is the way it is. On social media, people will be shouting, they will be praising people who are misbehaving. But the moment those people are held accountable for their misbehavior, you will not see them, they will do nothing to save that person. That is how we are. Lessons would have been learned now that, look, when it comes to this, I know a governor who was lobbying lawmakers from his state to not allow this vote to sail through. In the end, the lawmakers from the state all voted in support. Despite the fact that I came to them to say, look, let's make sure that this vote does not succeed. Many times when it comes to this kind of vote, people vote across party lines. They don't vote, even Labour Party members, you see a lot of them voting in support. This is how we are. Let's not kid ourselves. And the Nigerian president is very powerful. It is, before a president would declare a state of emergency in this manner, he would have done his homework. Because, and his party members too, and the leadership of the National Assembly would not want him to be disgraced.
Yes, exactly.
So whatever it takes to make sure that it says true, even if it was a mistake, they will still work hard to make sure that that proclamation says true. They can discuss in closed doors, behind closed doors, about Mr. President should have done this, before now and all that. But they will make sure that it says true. Okay. They will not disgrace. They will not disgrace the president, and that is what we have seen. So those who are predicting that this thing will be shut down, I'm sure they are bitterly disappointed now. Just as those who thought that I would take back my words, they are disappointed as the people who predicted that this thing will not sail through in the National Assembly.
Okay. So your thoughts on this? Do you think the state of emergency in Rivers State will restore peace?
I want to believe that. I want to believe that because everybody in that system is a loser now. Because 6 months, they can't be in office. And that's 6 months taken out of the opportunity to develop their constituency or relate properly with their constituents. So they've lost the 6 months. And if they still do not reconcile, another 6 months will come.
So it is in their best interest.
There is nothing they can do
to
go and reconcile. And then to the National Assembly, I always say, let our lawmakers be present during sittings. That was a gap that we saw between yesterday and today. When that matter was brought up, it had to, both chambers had to move it because they didn't get the number. We should not be paying them to be absent from lawmaking.
Very beautiful points there. Very beautiful point there. All right, let's move straight to our next.